fish this year or next year. We want to catch it 10, 15, 20 years from now.
As consumers, we have the power to bring about a positive change at sea by demanding to know where our fish comes from, how it was caught, and whether it is in danger.
There is a fishing industry out there, some of which is trying incredibly hard to get it right. And they are not being supported as much as they should be, because people are not recognizing the difference between what they're doing, what the guys who are just rampantly raping the seas are doing. I think we have to support that part of the fishing industry.
For consumers, there are guides to identifying which fish is better to eat. Then there are labels which certify its sustainability. One is issued by the Marine Stewardship Council, the MSC.
What we do and the choices we make in, say, supermarkets, when we go to a restaurant, actually has a direct effect on marine diversity.
Knowledge is power, and what knowledge gives you is the opportunity to change the way that you do things, to change the way you behave.
More and more fish are now being farmed. Many people see this as an answer to the increasingly desperate problem facing our oceans. But fish farming is not all that it seems. Fish farming uses wild fish to feed farmed fish, but it kills more than it produces. All of these anchovies will be ground up for fish meal to feed fish and other animals around the world.
Of the 100 million tons that get fished every year in the planet, 40% go and get ground into fish meal to feed other fish and not to feed people. So that some rich people somewhere in the world can eat salmon and can eat shrimp.
The more fish farming we do in the West, the less fish we have. This is one of the paradoxes that people have problems understanding.
Aquaculture for species that eat fish doesn't have that much room to grow because there just aren't that many fish out there in the ocean to feed them anymore.
You actually convert fish from one species into the other. You don't make more fish, at least not when you have farmed fish.
On average, 5 kilos of anchovy make only 1 kilo of salmon.
We've reached the buffers. We have reached the limits of what the ocean is capable of providing to feed the fish farming industry. So how can it grow if it's already reached the end of its feedstock?
Patricia has started a campaign to encourage people all over the world to eat small fish like anchovy, herring, and mackerel, instead of the farmed fish that are fed on them.
Why not eat the fish directly? Why not eat the anchovies? They're much better for you than salmon anyways. It's this tiny little fish that has all the energy that you need to be healthy.
If fish farming is not the answer, despite attempts to make it less wasteful, and sustainable fisheries aren't catching on fast enough, what else can we do to save the world's oceans?
We need to turn back the clock 200 years to bring back life, to restore its previous abundance and productivity in some places around the world oceans. I'm talking about creating a network of areas within which we can turn back the clock.
It's a nice country. You know what I mean? It can't be no beautiful than this. Outside you die and go to heaven.
Marine reserves are areas of the world's oceans where commercial fishing is completely banned. The results can be staggering.
Wherever people have established an area that's off limits to fishing and policed it well. They've been resolute in their pursuit of protection. Reserves have shown marvelous benefits. I studied marine reserves in the Caribbean, and we saw an increase of 3, 4, 5 times the amount of fish that were present initially over a period of 7 years of protection after that.
We have about 4,000 marine reserves of different sizes in the world. They cover less than 1% of the world ocean. 99.4% of the ocean is fishable.
The world has signed up to establishing a network of marine protected areas by 2012. Some nations have promised to protect 20% or more of their seas in the future. But we have to put pressure on governments to ensure this happens.
According to the UN, according to the only laws that we have of the sea belongs to us, the citizen. Not to the fishermen, not to the aggregates industry, not to the oil and gas industries. It's ours. So why don't we claim it back?
Marine reserves on their own will not solve the problem of the emptying seas. Fishermen and migratory fish will move to unprotected areas, so these also have to be controlled. Politicians have to act responsibly when making decisions about the oceans. Consumers need to change their eating habits. And the global fishing industry has to abide by the rules and reduce its capacity.
The problem is getting political will to implement these things, and people will always argue, well, you can't do this because it would affect too many people's livelihoods. Well, in the end, those livelihoods are disappearing year by year with inaction.
I want them to manage the sea for recovery. I want to be full of fish. I want it to be full of cod and skate and haddock and halibut and, you know, shellfish and everything.
Does society want to see that recovery take place? Or is it society happy with massive depletions? I don't think my 6-year-old daughter is going to be particularly happy in 10 years' time when she reads about this stuff and learns about it and says, God, all this happened in your lifetimes. In your lifetime, my lifetime. Anyone who's 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, this has happened on our watch, and we have a collective responsibility.
The difference between this and other environmental problems is that actually it is relatively simple to solve. We can act now. It's not rocket science. We don't need more knowledge to do so. So let's do what we can where we can. You can do it here. You can do it now.
You just do it.
Now there are 3 steps to heaven. Just listen and you will plainly see. And as life travels on and things do go wrong, just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. Step 1, you find a girl you love. Step 2, she falls in love with you. Step 3, you kiss and hold her tightly. Yeah, that sure seems like heaven to me.